Hey y'all. So I finally got to the skit with Amber and Coca. So and Coca was over to their house, and Coca was there waiting on Amber, or whatever. So they did the little introduction and stuff, and so Amber said that that she had been over to Wayne's house. They had been doing business. So Coca said Wayne, and Amber was like, yeah, we had some business, And then Coca said, Wayne. See, Coca don't know that Amber and Wayne are doing business, but she know about the other stuff. And she was like, yes, Wayne, we had some business. She said, that's it now, like if they feel like if they hit it once, they can hit it again. And she was like, okay, first of all, I ain't nobody hit nothing because I'm a married woman. Coco's, she gonna bring them jokes in, and then she was like, okay. I'm glad you looked at that rain girl and you reminded yourself, okay, we good now. And she talking about, I got you. And Coco talking about, because I still love that old big head girl, okay. She talking about Amber and stuff. And so she said, okay, so I was over there and I ran into Arby. That's what Amber told Coco. And Coco was like, Wayne's brother? She said, the one that, yeah. She said, yes, Wayne's brother. Yeah, the one that was with Shayla that we thought Kai was for. And she said, oh, I thought I knew, I knew of him, I knew, okay. So Amber was like, so I asked him, she said, I just asked him, like, where did you go to take your test? Or, like, what did you do? What kind of test did you use to find out that Kai wasn't yours? Because my thing is this, if it's not Anthony's and it's not Arby's, who was she messing around with? So Coco was like, girl, shoot, we might have to pick a number, and Amber talking about, you know what? And she's like, shoot, I'm just saying, honey, I smell whore. And I was like, this woman is crazy. So Coco's like, I get that, and all. But what if you take that test, and it's turned out not to be Anthony's? What you gonna do? And so Amber not really thinking at that moment, and I'm glad that Coco had a conversation with her so she can let her, face reality and stuff, because I know what she want. We all know what she want. And she's like, you know what, what anybody would do, we would finally be able to move forward with our life. And Coco talking about, what you mean move forward? And she's like, yeah, like move forward, move past all of this foolish and really just be, he and I just build and start fresh and don't, have to worry about, Shayla and her family and the baby. So Coco said, sis, she said, sis, I don't think it's going to be that cut and dry. And so Amber was like, what you mean? And she said, girl, Anthony is attached to that baby, girl. I mean, like, his mind, in his mind, that is his firstborn, that is his first seed, that is his legacy, like, he's gotten attached. And I looked at him, and I see how he is, how he looks at that child, and he ain't going to be able to just walk away from that baby because they don't have the same DNA. I don't think it's going to be that cut and dry. You got to think about that, Like, I mean, I get that, you want to be celebrating and that is a clean slate for you and Anthony. But, I mean, I believe he's got a little compassion in his heart, that he ain't going to just, be able to just walk away and just abandon that child, Are you prepared for that? So Amber was like, this, what Coco was like, 'cause girl, and Amber was like, I guess I hadn't, thought about that. And that's more than honest with her. She didn't think about that. It's not like she maliciously was like happy that he'll be away from the baby or whatever. Because, Coco said it's a possibility. And, Amber said, wow, I mean, Amber was like, yeah, oh, man. And Coco was like, girl, I'm ashamed of you, girl. How you gonna sit there and just want to celebrate some dang on another black boy being fatherless. You know how she talked. And Amber was like, no, 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 no. I'm not saying that I will celebrate that, you know. I would not want that for Kai, you know. And Coca said, right, you know, he's innocent, even though he was like born of the seed of Satan. You know, he's innocent. And she was like, yeah. So she's thinking about it, and I hope that she have a conversation with Anthony tonight and let him know, babe, you know, whatever comes to pass, if it's yours, we'll deal with it. And if it's not, you know, I know that you're going to still be in his life, and I support that. That will make him feel so good, you know, because if it end up not being his, it's going to hurt him to the core of his heart. So, you know, I don't know. I don't know. Um, I hope Shayla, you know, the way everything is set up, I don't know. Cause Shayla real skeptical, you know, you never know what she got going on. If she snuck that long with Anthony, she'll sneak with somebody else. So we can't say just because we haven't seen her with nobody else that she haven't been with nobody else. So y'all let me know what y'all think.